Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Mental Mondays with Epis, episode 6. Tonight we have a very special guest on the show with Dub and I. Going to be talking about substance abuse and the grieving process. Thank you for joining us today. I hope your Monday was a beautiful day. This very happy mental health Monday. All right, let's get the show on the road. Keep showing up.
Wake up! You can't remember where it was! Has this dream stopped?
Hope you find some kind of peace of mind. Find and hope you find some kind of peace of mind. Find
Was true. Love is my love. Is my
All right, that's right.
find some kind of peace of mind. Find
All right, folks. I hope you find a peace of mind. Thank you for joining us this evening. I know it's late. I know it's a Monday. You got work in the morning. I feel you. But thank you for joining us. It's your boy, Matty B. I got the wrong screen up. Look at that. Pro streamer. Hold on. Let me get my Yosemite right there. There you go. Oh, jeez. I'm so used to doing the sports show. Thank you for joining us this evening. I have a special guest with me. It's a new face on the screen we're not used to seeing. It's the first guest we've ever had on this show, at any show with the whole Epis Radio, whether it be the sports or the mental health. And it's my good friend, Chris. Chris, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, chat. How you doing? I'm Chris. Thanks for coming along.
All right. We also have Dubby here as well. So Dub's not on screen. I know. I didn't have the
I'm in the
time.
building.
Didn't
Good
have
evening, everybody.
didn't have time to fix myself a 3-person interview screen. I could probably do it on the fly right now, but I really just don't feel like that. But I've been so busy with editing and all that, so I just really haven't gotten around to it. But believe me, I will. So, Dub, I appreciate you being here, and Chris as well. Thank you, bro.
Absolutely.
Before we get to the questions or anything like that, why don't you just kind of give a little precursor, Chris, into your life, where you come from, where you grew up, just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we had in mind for the show tonight.
Sure. All right. So, yeah, as you know, my name is Chris, and I've been working with Matty about 8 months now, and see what he's doing here. And I wanted to come along, and I was born and raised in Queens, grew up in Queens, still in Queens, New York, and yeah, I've been someone that's gone through a lot of different mental health issues and things like that, grieving process, addiction, and all that stuff. So I figured, what better way than to come on here and talk about it, and hopefully it can help people, and as well as help myself, just to get through certain things.
I
So yeah,
appreciate you,
I'm
man.
just here along for the, of course, just here along for the journey.
Yeah, sounds great.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, man. Since you mentioned, some of the things, in regards to substance abuse, um, I know recently you had a family member that passed away, and talk about that a little bit. Talk about how that feels. I know it all too well. I've been through it. My dad, dying at a young age. I was 13. Um, Lost multiple in 9/11. My godfather passed away, lung cancer. Uncle killed himself. So it's like, it's been a hell of a journey for me. I know it's not easy for you. I know your background a little. It's not your first loss, uh, but it's tough. It's never easy, right? It's always a hard thing to swallow. It's a hard pill to swallow. In your case, the end was kind of near here, right, for you, but it's never easy processing it and going through those pains. So why don't you just talk a little, about that?
Yeah. So I had a cousin who passed away recently on Saturday, and another cousin to cancer. You know, we have all different types of cancer on both sides of my family, and I work with cancer patients, so something I'm very familiar with. You know, unfortunately, and fortunately, because I get to help people get through that. But yeah, so basically, I had a cousin. Her name was Janine, 54 years old. Passed away Saturday. Was battling cancer on and off for 15 years. Very strong woman, kept fighting and beating it for 15 years, and unfortunately, this time it just kind of really took over. And so basically, she's passed on, and no more suffering for her, which is the bright side, the bright spot that we could take out of this. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just basically just another loss to the ugly C word, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know
It's
well too. I know very well.
right. Unfortunately, it's just so prevalent nowadays. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
A lot more people walking through those doors, and just got to take care of yourself the best way possible, man. I'm heading to the wake tomorrow and to the funeral the next day, and yeah, it's tough, but life goes on. It's an unfortunate part of life, but yeah, I mean, we're just dealing with that right now.
Do
So
you do
I'm
you
sure a lot of
feel
people can relate.
what areas of your life do you feel, if all of them, are affected, by this loss for you? Is it, do you feel like it's dragging you down at work, things like that? You know what I mean? Like, I know, you got some other, substance issues, going on. Do you feel like you're more inclined to go that route? Like, where, how is it affecting you other than just, obviously grieving? Just the fact that the person's no longer with us.
Right, right. It's definitely challenging. You're at work and trying to think about it. Suddenly, you think about it, you get very
Mm.
down, and there's things that are other things that are going on in my life. Like such as Matty said, substance abuse issues, which I'm doing a lot better with now. But I had to really sit down and be honest with myself about that. And
Yeah.
so it's a challenge to not go back to that. But you got to be honest with yourself and talk to yourself and remind yourself why you don't want to do those things. Definitely dealing with someone's death is just not easy, and it makes you want to go back, and it's like a tug of war, basically. It makes you kind of want to go pick up a bottle or whatever you do. But really, you got to think about what your family member would want, and all those other people that we have lost in our lives. How would they want us to live? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So
Right, right.
it's just you can't go down this hole of toxicity just because not just because, but
It's
it's a
only really
big
like
big thing.
two ways to go when you take those losses. There's only like two ways to go, left or right. Like you said, you can go back, or or be destructive, or you can use it as a motivator. And like you said, if
Exactly.
there's love, there's real love with that person. You have that real relationship. I really like. I've
Right.
taken a lot of losses recently. I've lost my cousin to cancer in November. She was only 41, children and all that. We grew up together. Same thing. She had a long time. When you had said that, it hit hard. And still, we still, me and my her brother talk about it all the time. Still, like all the time, because we all came up together. I know what you mean, Chris. Like I know you guys were close.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, definitely.
like Maddie, like yeah, just going to go up or go forward. And you know what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
We know.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
just that self awareness once again, because we know what we're doing if we really look at ourselves.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
just being self destructive. I've been there. So with whether it be emotions or feelings or being wronged or trauma, drinks, weed, drugs, been or all of that stuff. Women, fast. So and you can use it, like I said, man. At the end of the day, like this is young in behavior and partying and stuff like that, but then you get some people, it grabs onto them and you keep it
Mm-hmm.
instead of it being a
Right.
phase, and call it addiction.
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, I think everyone is different. Everyone's personality is different. Some people can just grab on to pick up something and then drop it. They go smoke crack if they want, and in one time. And then other people, they go smoke for 60 years. But
No doubt.
Right.
yeah, so we're all built differently and stuff, but I'm very like empathetic and understanding when it comes to things like this. I feel honored to be here because this like this stigmatism and addiction and all kind of things that we deal with. There's other things, but we're talking about grieving and addiction today. But there's a lot of stigmatisms that come with stuff like that, where you know you don't want to say anything, and if you don't want to talk about it, it's gonna be harder to defeat it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
being in denial or I got this shit. You know, like so. You know, I'm like I said to Matty. You know, I wanted you to come here and be comfortable today because we've never met. We met in the chat. This is the first time I've even seen you. Um, but I knew that there's a lot of courage to come here, to come to the show with us, man. I feel privileged and honored, you know.
Yeah,
And you know,
thank
you're
you,
cool
fam.
with Matt, so yeah, no doubt you're cool with Matt. And you know that Matt's guy is probably good because Matt's your guy. So boom, that's how it's supposed to be. So,
Right.
but yeah, man,
Chris, so let
it's
me
definitely a beautiful thing.
let me dive a little into you there. You know, so how far back in terms of the a substance abuse? Well, like, what do you think was a huge turning point in your life that kind of like led you down that road? I know, there's a bit of history there, and it might go way back, but that's okay. Like, let's go back to the beginning. Of where this all started. I could even, talk a little bit about myself and my, substance abuse and, where I started. I was 13 basically when the smoking gun for me.
Mm. You said your
So
dad died when you were
yeah,
13 too.
right. It was all happening around that
Mhm.
time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Actually, you know what? I don't think it was 13 for dad. I would think it was back in '07. So do the math. I believe
15.
it's 15. Okay, yes, 15.
I know, Matty. I know it.
Yeah, um, yeah, no, I know when I said it before, I was like, oh, that's not right. Yeah,
Yeah. But still,
but
regardless.
13 is when everything started for me. Like I started
Right, right,
smoking weed at 13, started smoking cigarettes at 13. It was just
right, right, right,
had sex at 13. Like it was
right,
just
right, right. All the grown
everything
up shit.
changed, right? Everything changed, and that's
Yeah,
for a lot of people, that's a really young age to be doing that.
it is.
Um, and it changed the trajectory in my life forever, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
so like Chris, that's what I'm asking you. Like, where does
Right.
it go back for you? What do you think? Is there regret? Is there just like no? Like what is it for you? What's the story?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely regret. You wish you never picked anything up, but it
Yeah,
Mm.
started at 13 for me as well. Although I don't think I really knew what I was doing. I was experimenting at 13, but I didn't really get high and drunk till I was like 15.
hmm
I think I got sold tobacco when I was 13. They told me it's weed. Looking back at it, it was
yeah,
very brown. I think it was tobacco.
yeah,
But I started at 13, with cigarettes, just standing on the corner so I could get the head rush from Newports. I think I thought I was 13 now, so I was like a man. I could smoke cigarettes,
Mm.
and But I drank once at 13. I did get drunk, but I just stopped. I didn't really start diving into things till I was like 15,
yeah,
and that started due to a very traumatic childhood. I had a father that was an addict and a raging alcoholic and a heroin addict in his 20s. I didn't see that. It wasn't happening when I was when he had me. But basically, yeah, just seeing my dad, he was a raging alcoholic, just flipping out over the smallest things, and I just kind of followed suit and just like, oh, I'm just gonna drink to get rid of my problems.
right, right,
Fuck.
right,
And
right.
I'm going on 44, so you do the math. That's how long I've been an addict for. An
Yeah,
alcoholic, basically, to be honest with you guys. Something that I always turn to get myself like even keeled, or at least so I thought.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it was definitely something I turned to all the time, and even up until my adulthood and to recent times. And you kind of get tired of it. You have to be honest with yourself. It's like, do I really want to keep doing this? And it wasn't really solving anything. I was just hiding it. So it's
right,
like
right,
here I am in my 40s, and I'm just starting to really work on myself and look deep for the answers and the root causes of why I feel the way I feel. And now that I'm putting the bottle down, I could actually focus on that stuff.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I wanted to share that with everybody because I feel like
Mm.
a lot of people can relate to that, and it's something that you should not be ashamed of. Everybody has their issues. You know what I mean? Like who cares? Who knows really? I mean, like I was
Word.
I can understand wanting to keep a secret, but everybody's messed up, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you look
yeah,
at
yeah.
this person here, you could point out a major issue they got. You look at that person. I mean, nobody's perfect.
I,
Yeah.
Chris, doesn't that come with a little bit of wisdom and experience and age and not gives a shit? And I laughed when you said it
Yeah,
because, but when the
yeah.
20-year-olds they give a shit, a little bit
Right.
more,
I'm
But
too
we
old
we're
to care.
grown. Yeah, we're like, yo, So when
Exactly.
it's time, right?
Right.
You got a lot of living to do, my brother.
Right. You still,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got a lot of time left. You're a young man still.
Exactly.
Hey,
So,
real quick,
yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I was just trying to see if I could get the three-person camera. Dub, do you have your camera up or no? Are
I
you
could put
having
it on.
issues? Yeah, do you mind? Let me see if I could get you on here. I was working, as a side project while we were talking,
Okay.
doing that, so I'm getting you guys up there. Yeah, I just want to see. I get you in there, Okay, Dub's up, so folks, just bear with me. Dub, is there anything that you have to ask while I set this up? We can
Chris, you were supposed to come on last week sometime, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Was that before the passing of your dear cousin? And did
Yes.
that
Yeah, yeah.
coincide? You're not coming through because it sounded like
No.
she was like
Um,
it was almost like when you said it, it's like, oh, probably that's not why bro probably was going through that, or she probably was on the way out. I was just thinking. I just wanted to know that
yeah.
because I
No,
know you
not
just
so.
lost her.
Yeah, I mean, it was on my mind, but no, that was something else. Why I didn't come
Okay,
up.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I was feeling under the weather, but
Yeah,
no, that was going on. But it's weird. It kind of it got worse like very quickly. Like it wasn't as bad as it was just like a week ago,
right, right,
compared to what it's been like the last few days. It just like
right.
suddenly really
That's
took
what
a
happened to my. That's what happened to my cousin. Like she was in the hospital Wednesday or something like that. She was gone on Saturday, and she was at work
right.
like the week before. She was chilling though.
Yeah, it's crazy,
I
man.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like she dealt with. She's started with Hodgkin's lymphoma around in her early 20s. So she
Wow,
dealt with that her whole adult life, on and off.
that's
And
tough.
she left. Yeah, she was. I wrote it on my IGS. It's the toughest person I've ever known. Like
Right.
all in
You
all,
have to
like
be
she
right.
was built like that. Yeah.
Mm,
So she had it so long, like forgot she had it type shit. So when
right.
we
Wow.
lost the man, you know what I'm saying? Oh man.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. She's like a little sister. Like we were together all the time. Her and her brother and me, my siblings. So, I know your cousin because we have cousins. Some cousins, but then you got those cousins.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
They some to take care of you, some of you take care of them. Yeah, just because they were there from, they know what you're talking about. From remember, they just know.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like siblings, those other siblings. So it's hard, man.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
This shit
Oh,
is hard.
okay. That's much better. There you go. I got all you
You got me
guys
in
up
there,
there.
Matty?
Yes. I'm sorry, folks, for everybody that's watching. Like, what the hell is going on here? Because that looked really weird if you were
Yeah, oh,
watching
that
that.
story.
Yeah. Okay.
That little pyramid
But,
with you in the middle.
yeah. You seen
I
that,
just
right?
saw that.
That was
Yeah, I saw it
great.
right before picks.
But
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I just had to get that done because it was bothering me,
You
and
didn't
I
see it,
and I
Chris. You just
knew.
the twisters. I just looked down.
Oh
I
my
saw it.
god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like,
you,
that's
you
funny.
have to
So,
be. You have to be there. You might have seen it on the live.
oh yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
So.
man. The grieving a lot. Yeah, like I have. Like I'm in my 40s too. I'm saying it's you, a couple of years older, maybe two. 46 this year, next month. So,
Hmm.
um, I haven't taken as many. I still have both my folks, thank God, grace of God. But so I wasn't taking a lot of losses. I lost some friends, couple friends. But the last 2 years, man, I've gotten it hard. Like those friends, like these are young people, or my age. My cousins, two of them. Because one of them, the other one, he passed from MS. He had a long struggle, and we watched him deteriorate. Where he had a feeding tube. Another guy, 42, 41, MS
Right.
came through and it just took him from us. So
Right.
yeah, man. Grieving shit, it's so easy to get lost because no one understands your pain, bro. They understand it
Mm,
because they've had it on their own, but this pain, this person that you lost, we can give condolences and talk about it and we all understand that we take losses, but the pain that you're going through at that time, only you have it, especially with the day-to-day people, because most of the time you're gonna be around people who don't know about your loss or even know your person,
Yeah.
right. Right.
you know? Oh, I lost so and so. I just lost this person. You know, they give you the condolences, and you're like, you don't even want to tell people because whatever they say won't be enough. You'd rather just not said it. You know, it's so
Exactly. Yeah.
tough.
You feel like you
But
still don't.
you're alone.
I get it. Yeah.
It's not their fault,
Right.
but it's because it's your internal pain. It's your pain, your internal. So it's so hard, man. But like I said, man, I really like you said first early, like talking about it. It's really real. So when you're talking to people you trust, good people, and you know the people you can talk to through our spirituality, our energy, like, yeah, they good,
Exactly.
and the stuff we're saying, I already know I can vibe with you. We can talk about real shit. I already know that. But
Yeah.
this shit is hard, man. But we just, one thing I have learned that if we can persevere through our trials and tribulations, that Father Time will take care of us. Some people call him God even too. But
Mhm.
you're gonna get taken care. Like time will take care of it.
Right.
It'll make it easier. They're gonna be gone always, but it'll be a
What
little
you
easier.
do with that time too, right? It's like
Yes, that is
so
that's the whole
important, man.
thing. Yeah. How do you
Yeah.
deal with the time that to leading to get to do that through the struggle, through the pain, through the grieving? What do you
Yeah.
Right. We're doing good. We're doing good with our time right now. This hour is real productive time.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's nourishing shit. So
I've had to do things I never saw myself getting into. Just to get
yeah,
over the loss of a loved one. I've gotten into new hobbies and things like that where I was just like,
stuff you never knew you was gonna like.
I did. Yeah. It's just like,
I could dig it.
what would they want? What would they want for you? Just keep living, man. Live for them too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That
I
shit
mean
is
that,
so cliche, but it's so real. It's
for
facts.
sure. I mean it took me a long time to get there after the loss of my father, and I mean a long time.
You're
I
so
would say
young,
10 to
man.
15 years, just to where I could feel, myself and like, comfortable and get to a point where, I feel like he would be proud of me. Because for so long it was like, I don't know if I am doing the right thing. I don't know if this is that. There's so many questions, and I always wanted to just be able to pick up that phone and talk to him and be like, hey, like, what do you think, right? And I just never had that type of validation. And if there's anybody you want
Man,
validation from,
that validation,
it's
bro, the
from
everything from
your
your old
parents,
man.
yeah, right, and I just I lost that. I lost the chance at that, and
You
you
got
know
jerked a little bit. You got ripped off a
yeah,
little bit, probably.
a
Yeah.
part of me felt that way. It was a bit of anger. There was a lot of years of anger. Therapy helped with that. But certainly, I, I, I I turned to the drug use. I mean, I was heavily medicated through those years, and I mean, as in, just drinking, smoking, doing acid, shrooms, this and that. Like, it was just like, I dealt, went into coke a little bit, tried that, didn't really like it, but, well, that's a lie. Kind of liked it, but, didn't like it enough to keep on going. That's for sure. Just other things. I mean, I went to, a mental hospital, a psych ward where
Oh,
fucking sniffing pills and shit like that.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, you don't know about that? I'll tell you about
No,
that. Let's go.
I know
Yeah.
you 8 years, yo.
Yeah,
I never
yeah,
know.
yeah. I kind of hide that story from a lot of
Nah,
people. So
there's no real place to bring it up at.
this is a
It wasn't
good.
an opportunity.
Well,
And there
yeah,
it is.
this is
Yeah.
the right place to
We
bring
didn't
it
have an
up. Yeah, this
opportunity to
is
talk
good for the
about it.
people.
Yeah.
So everybody that's gonna see this in post.
Well, go ahead, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I mean, so Chris, and I never told you this. I know I haven't told you this, right? Yeah. Folks, we will get to the mental health video of the week soon. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch. I appreciate you. We're a half hour into the show. It's my co-host W. Dubois here, and then we got my buddy Chris on as a guest speaker today, talking about substance abuse and grieving. And it's been a good show so far. Thank you for tuning in.
My boy Nasty.
Yes, and for those of you who know on Twitch, Nasty in the chat. But today we're getting mental, all right? So there's, the story of me going to a psych ward. So I was in like middle school, 8th grade. I went to a school in Maspeth called IS 73, all right? That was my school. I nearly burnt the school down, okay? One day I had to like kill hundreds of kids, actually. like almost, like severely, way too close for that happening. By the way, I for no good reason, I was being a stupid, lashed out kid, and my mother always said that it was because of my dad dying, right? At least, yeah, he did pass away at that age. No, he did not. He was still around. What am I talking about? Did he? Now I'm bugging out. Where am I at? No, my dad passed away freshman year of high school. All right, my dad was still around. Doesn't matter. She just, chalked it up as me being a good kid that's just lost his way or whatever, But I would do stupid shit, I really otherwise was well behaved, but I kind of like fucked around with like fire a little bit at that time. I was a little bit,
Oh my.
was a little bit of an arsonist, and there was even like before this, like couple of weeks before this, I started like a terrible fire on the freight train tracks in the middle of Maspeth. Where like
You start fires, Matt?
Yeah, I did. I know I was a terrible fucking kid.
You were
yeah.
bad as fuck.
I was a terrible fucking kid, bro. I was like a bad kid. Like did bad shit.
This is great.
I like randomly took crowbars to people's windshields. It's not good.
Chris, I would have never thought that, Chris. Like man he is today.
I remember, bro. We didn't fuck with this one teacher at the school. I took a boulder to his Hummer windshield.
Oh, you were off the chain.
I was bad, bro. Yeah. That was bad.
Yo, bro, I was bad when I was little, but I wouldn't have hung out with you. I'm like, nah, my ain't Matty enough.
But that's the thing, though. I kind of moved.
Got me beatings if you were my friend.
I kind of moved in silence. Okay.
Wow.
I kind of moved in silence. I really didn't get caught. I didn't get caught until I got caught, and I got caught with the school, rightfully so. I should get caught with that. That was terrible. Changed my life forever. Again, I've had a lot of change my life forever.
Yeah, man.
That's for sure.
You're a great guy, man. In my opinion, wow, you were rotten.
Oh, worse than my mother will ever know. Even if I tell her this, why I don't care. I'll say it. She doesn't believe it. I remember the first time I told her I did cocaine. Did not believe it.
She
didn't believe me. Told her. No, I
told her.
You
fucking nuts. You were nuts.
I'm telling you, bro. Yeah. No, I told my mom a lot of things. I tripped balls on acid, and my mother held me through it, bro. She held me through it for a good 8 hours, bro.
You didn't give a fuck.
Not really, no. I still don't. But
oh, that's not true. You do.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I give a fuck obviously in a different way, but I give no fucks about a lot of other things. All right.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
All right. Let me not get sidetracked. But so again, yeah, I did a lot of bad things. I regret a lot of those things. I'm not like over here saying like, oh, yeah, that's cool shit. No. Like, don't get me wrong. I was a shit kid. Like, I really was. I've done a lot of bad things that a lot of people don't know about in that sense, in like the just destructive sense. And, and I'm not proud of it. It's just kind of what I fucking did. I don't know. There was a lot of anger in me. I just didn't give a shit, I think. And it's not like the drugs, because a lot of times I probably was sober, while these things happen, especially the burning at the school. Like, I wasn't smoking weed before middle school, you know what I mean? I don't even smoke weed back then. It was in middle school. So it's just fucking being like a crazy kid. I was curious of like fire. I don't know. It's a weird thing. So I thought it was a good idea. I was cutting class in middle school, by the way. First period, cutting class, not where I'm supposed to be, right? And I'm in the music room in the basement. Now, the music room in the basement was located exactly where the fire line and the gas line is for the school. Okay, so not a great location to start a fire.
I have to come up with new nicknames for you.
So,
Matty
Matty Flames. So, again, not a great location to start a fire. So there's a bunch of instruments in the room. The teacher that was there that day was a substitute teacher. I was cool with him. He was cool. He knew I wasn't supposed to be there, and he was cool with me being there. So I'm there hanging. Matty Blaze, Taskmaster in the chat says, yeah.
Matty Blaze.
Oh, what's up, Task? How you doing, bro? It's a good story.
You right, bro. That's gonna stick, bro.
Get you.
You're toast. Toast. He's toast.
Yeah, a lot of you guys don't know this story and what ensues after. This is a part of my life that goes way big, but a lot of
my
people do know. I was kind of like famous for a little bit in Mass, but people knew me after this.
You have long hair. You doing this shit? You have the shag?
I don't think I had the shag. I had probably a little shag going on. I was the emo get up back then. I literally,
You school shooter looker?
bro. Oh yeah. On the backpack, the strap had fucking what was it, live or die or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah. I would have tried to be cool with you.
Oh
I'd be your
man,
best friend.
live or die, bunch of other shit.
Yeah, I would have been cool with him at school.
You know,
if ever you had problems, were you getting a lot of fights?
No, I
you
was.
seem like-
No, because I was either the one orchestrating the fight, or I was cool with everybody. I didn't get in fights. That was always the thing. That was always a common theme. I was generally cool with
This is
everybody
great, Chris.
through all the years. I had a couple of fights with a couple of kids. That was for like other reasons. But I was never a big fighter. I didn't get involved in that shit. I really, again, I moved in silence with a lot of the things I did, and it was more destructive than anything. So again,
You didn't want the title. You did it for yourself.
yes, no doubt. Yes, exactly. That was like really my MO. It was just, it was weird, man. I didn't.
That tells you right
know,
there. It's right here. It's going through a lot.
Right. So,
Mhm.
and that's a great point, though. Getting sidetracked. So, I cut in class first period, right? I'm gonna speed up a little. Substitute teacher is cool with me. So for no fucking good reason, I'm like playing with the lighter in class. I don't know what the fuck the substitute teacher is doing, but how do you not see the sketchy emo kid in the corner playing with the fucking lighter? Like, I mean, where you at, bro? All right, that's first. That's number one. Okay, So I'm playing with the fucking lighter. The class is coming to an end. All right, now there's instruments all over the place. Now, Dub, I don't know if you caught it before, but the gas line is literally up on the ceiling right there. The gas line, bro. You start a flame there.
You're not thinking about that shit, though.
No, I'm not thinking about that. Of
Fuck
course
it.
not. Yeah, but
You
if
just playing with your lighter.
bro, if fire starts, kaboom. All right. So I don't, for no good reason, decided to light a piece of paper, like a couple of construction pieces of paper, and put it inside the double bass upright. Now, I don't know if you know what a double bass upright is. Thank you for the follow, OMG BB. Appreciate you following.
YouTube or
On
Twitch?
Twitch. Coming from Twitch, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you showing up.
No doubt.
So I light this fire. I put it in the double bass upright. So a double bass upright is just a big ass bass, fucking huge. It's got like this big drum. So I just stick stick it inside the fire. I mean, stick it inside the fire. Stick it inside the bass, and that's it. Class comes to an end. The bell goes off. Everybody files out, and next thing you know, it was funny because the substitute teacher was like, "Oh, you'll close the door behind you." He still doesn't realize this shit's going on, because the fire was slowly creating in the double bass rubber. I'm like, yeah. So now
the door's closed,
now he leaves. Not only does he see, not only does he
creates
not
the
see
backdraft.
the sketchy emo kid light the fire, but he leaves it to me, the sketchy emo kid, to close the door behind him as we all file
It's
out.
crazy. The sketchy emo kid is you.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
This is a story. Go ahead. Go on.
So and now it's crazy because now the double bass upright goes up in flames. All right, now it's engulfed. All right, now this is like a situation. I tell you what, like the reaction in me was just like, oh, all right, and it just left. I really had no thought.
How'd you get
wasn't
busted?
even. So here we go. Right, here's the story. Right, so as I'm leaving, there's another teacher coming in, like another coming down the hallway. The basement hallway, not very big, small corridor. So as I'm coming out the room, going up the steps, she's coming down the steps, going into the room. I don't know for what reason. I don't know. She just It was a different teacher dialing back. So that's it. I'm leaving. So I'm the last person she sees. I'm, screwed, coming out that room. So I'm basically screwed right there. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how they got me, but the story gets better. So that's it. I go upstairs. I go to my next class. Obviously now there, fucking fire alarm goes off. People are smelling smoke. Smoke starts to rise to the first floor of the building. Now it becomes a health hazard for all the kids in the school, amongst other dangers that not everybody may have known at the time. So, I don't know if they had sprinklers down there. I'd assume so, being next to the gas line. I never really got that. I would think that there's sprinklers there. I don't think they put it out with a fire extinguisher, or maybe they assisted with that. But I would think gas line, there's sprinklers there. As a kid, I never even thought about that. So I didn't really get the full story of how they put it out. All I know is that they did eventually. And then a whole investigation ensued. They fucking took all of us out of the rooms. They had police come in, fire chiefs. They conducted interviews to all the kids, all that, the whole nine, right? So it comes back on me. Apparently, or so they said. I guess they used their interrogation tactics against me and kind of pinned me against myself. And I think I cornered myself.
There was a reason, even though they knew. But how they know?
They said several people had given me up and said that it was me. They
Somebody
seen me
saw you with the lighter, even though the teacher
a couple of kids seen me with the lighter earlier in the class. A couple of kids seen it.
They're like, Matty tripping. Fuck that. I'm telling you. He almost killed
for sure.
That.
By the way, little backstory. I said before that, a couple of weeks before I started a big ass fire on the freight train tracks. Right, the day before. Taskmaster's like, narcs. Yeah, son of a bitches. Nobody loved me, man. They all they get mad.
Even if I was your man, I'd have been mad at you, though, bro.
Man.
Fuck you doing, bro?
Oh, no, it's terrible. So,
You're gonna make a documentary.
So the day before, I could write a book, bro. I could write a book. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it would be entertaining enough for people. I don't know. I was thinking about it, but I don't know. I don't think people give a shit. But his story's kind of fun. So again, they it's picking up, and then they were lining us up and shit. And of course, you're looking at everybody. I'm taller than everybody at this age, by the way. We're in 8th grade. I'm the tall kid. I had an early growth spurt that ended very quickly because that was the most I ever grew. I'm still at the height to this day. But I was dope at basketball and all that and tallest, and people didn't fuck with me. That's why. That was really why, But I wasn't I didn't give myself off as the fuck you type. It was really just I was a grungy kid, fucking emo, trip pants with the chains, the fucking spikes and shit. You know what I mean? I had the chain wallet. I was fucking just a grunge little fuck.
You had soul, though,
I had the spikes and shit at times, go fuck yourself. It was a good time.
I feel like he was the emo kid that all the different kind of kids like, though.
Yeah. I mean, again.
He's the man.
Right. I feel that way. I really do. I think
I feel like the brothers was rocking with you. He good.
I feel like they always have, but
no doubt,
clearly,
no doubt.
But Tash says my brother did too with the way he dressed up. Yeah, man, that was me. That was definitely me. I was a Hot Topic kid when Hot Topic was still good. But again, so listen, you pick me out of a bunch of kids, of course, the live or die on the backpack. They fucking knew it was me. They all liked me though. The story gets really good here, all right? So now, immediately suspended. You're not coming back, right? 8th grade, you're going into 9th grade. My dad passed away shortly thereafter in 9th grade. It was March, right? I just started school, essentially. So this was before all of that. Could you imagine what my dad was going through? And then I don't know if
He was sick and his kid bad as hell.
Right. It's insane.
Bad as fuck,
Bad
yeah.
as hell. I don't think we knew about the cancer diagnosis at that, but he definitely had it.
Yeah,
Based on the
he might have
stage.
known. Dad might have
Based on
known.
the stage, he definitely had
Right.
it. So now again, whole investigation goes. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Fire chief. I literally get sat in front of a fire chief, the fire chief at the time, like the fucking FDNY fire chief, bro. A panel, like about 15 of his buddies, and just like other state officials, the whole nine.
How were you? Were you scared, nervous? Like, what was that like?
At that time, that was a big whatever. Like you guys can't
You were
really
just
touch me.
thumbing your nose.
It didn't
Fuck
hit
outta
me
here.
yet. It didn't really hit me yet, though.
They're trying to scare you.
There was a time, trying to scare me big, bro. The fire chief
They're worried.
wanted
They're like, "Yo,
wanted to.
we're gonna be dealing with
The
this kid
fire
for 20
chief
years,
wanted to
burning shit."
try me as an adult and put me in
Right.
jail.
They're scared of you, bro. They thought you were gonna
Yeah.
you were become this probably some that you become.
Serial,
I will
fire-
say
Right,
this.
arsonist or- yeah.
I
they
will
were scared
say
to death
this.
of it.
If there's one thing, if there's anything my mother ever did well, in terms of it was one of these, because she really showed up during that time. I also had because she seeked out help. She actually played their card and brought a well-known firefighter at the time that we knew from Engine 74 in the city to back me because he knew of me. Again, I was associated with that engine because we had a family friend that passed away in 9/11. And he came to my defense, amongst others. There was a lot of testimonials from the teachers. I was a good kid, just in a bad way. It was crazy, but they like the fire chief was like, 15, 20 years jail. Like,
fuck this kid.
Fuck this kid. I'm gonna ruin his life. He almost killed hundreds of children.
He's a fire chief. Yo,
And for sure, and again, I was almost responsible, not only children but like teachers. It could have been really bad, and I get it, I understand it. I almost, looking back on it, I don't agree.
yeah.
I don't agree because look into, I'm not doing that shit now. Look at the person I turned out to be.
Right.
They got it right. And
They did.
I'm proud to say that they got it right.
But there's probably other kids who fell through the cracks like that.
No doubt about it. That they just and it's a hard decision to make, no doubt. But again,
No, man, hell, yo.
it didn't come with just a an easy transition. Like, so there was this whole process where they thought about it. Ultimately, they agreed that I would be sent to a psych ward. First, they wanted to send me to Elmhurst Hospital, and then from there, Elmhurst Hospital transferred me to a psych ward in Long Island. I'm gonna get there though real quick, but that was the ultimate decision. They let me out that day. It wasn't like they put me in cuffs. I tried like running away from home for a little bit, getting away from that. Eventually, I came back, and they got me. These motherfuckers got me.
When you ran?
Yeah, eventually, they got me.
You ran. And
I ran.
oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
ran. I went away from home, and then
You
kind of
missed court
came
dates and shit?
back, and then mom like cornered me. And
You really went on the run. You missed court dates.
Nah, it wasn't even like court dates. Like the sentence was in. It was, that's what it was. They just gave me like basically a couple of days grace period to get my affairs in order or get mom's affairs. I don't know, but they were taking me to Elmhurst, and they did. I went to Elmhurst Hospital. I was chilling up there with the adults and the kids. Stayed there for I think a couple of nights, like 2 or 3 nights, if I can remember. I think it was 2 nights. And then they transferred me from there in a straitjacket, by the way.
Jesus.
I got transferred in a straitjacket, tied down to a stretcher at the ripe age of, 10 years old? No, not 10 years old. It was like 12 years old. 12 years old. 12 years old. Yeah, 12, yeah, all right? Yeah, 12 years old. 12, 13 years old. Probably 12. And, not what an image that was, by the way. Tied down to a straitjacket, on a stretcher, lights and sirens with my mother and father behind the ambulance driving to the psych ward in Long Island. I'll never forget that image for the rest of my life. I get there. You know, that's when it really fucking hit me. Like, it wasn't... Before, I was trying to play the badass kid like it's not, you know, I'm all right. I broke down. You know, when they were interviewing me, and I just the way they were talking about me and everything like that, and how they were, you know, everything they were talking about, you know, I kind of broke down, and it went to a different place, you know, and that was really it, man. Like, I seen it in my parents
After
too.
you broke down, like, what did that, like, how were you feeling? Were you still, like, upset? Were you feeling victimized, defiant? Were you accountable?
I
What were
felt
going on?
I broke down because I felt like they got it wrong.
Okay.
You know, like I felt like I shouldn't have
wasn't a big
even
deal.
been there.
It wasn't
Like,
that bad.
like I wasn't that kid. Like, I knew in my heart, like I shouldn't be in this place.
Right.
And that was the scary part. It was like, and
wasn't.
I knew, like, you know, like that mom and dad can't save me anymore, and like this is it. This is the end road, and goodbye. And you know, hopefully I get out on good behavior. Like, and there was no
Totally.
timetable on when. I stayed there. I have to ask mom again, but for some reason I have it in my head that it was a month. Whether it was a week or a month, I know for sure it was at least a
You don't
week. It
even
was
know.
probably because a week felt like a month. That's what it like. That's really
This
what
memory
it was
is
like. You have
contorted in
no,
your head.
bro. They took everything away from you. I wasn't allowed to have a fucking shoelace. You know,
You had that
my
gown,
fucking.
yo,
I had that gown, the pajamas, fucking
and the
hanging, like
slideys,
just
the footsies.
yeah, man. And that was it, bro. And you didn't have shit in the room. All they wanted to do was try and medicate you, and not
Remember, we
like
were up
help
there.
you.
We used to get
You
paid.
know.
You
I
know, Chris
know.
working out. You know, I know.
I was
We used
one
to
of
take
them.
patients from.
I
Yo,
was
you
one
going
of
up there to
them.
go get patients from there 8 years later.
I know.
You know, 10 years later.
Isn't that crazy, right? I know. I
Yo,
actually
life is
revisited.
crazy.
I
That's why we gotta
revisited
keep
as an EMT.
right.
Yeah.
That's why we got to keep pushing, yo,
Yeah.
through things because it's always gonna get brighter, yo. Like, ooh, child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For real, like it will, man. That's how could you know? And yo, Chris, we went and picked people up from there after. You probably was so sympathetic with these patients we're moving, and you're watching them. They're like, yo, this is wild.
Yeah, because it was me. It was me, and you know, that was a
Makes a
huge.
lot of sense, yo, who you are today, yo.
It was a huge turning point. It's where I got introduced to pills. Because in there, pills is just a fun game that we like to play, and everybody likes to trade their pills and likes to sniff them as well.
And you went up there with them growing up.
Oh man, I would just be.
See, fire chief, you wanted the kid admitted so bad.
Thanks for introducing me to pills. Appreciate
He
that.
wanted you locked
you know?
up, yo. That putting you in the G building was more of a negotiation.
Yeah.
We're gonna get him
It
evaluated.
was. It was the only way. It was the only thing.
Negotiating. He wanted you in prison.
It was the only thing that I could do at the time. It was my only out, and you know, again, it saved my life. I thank all the people that decided to go with that route that day. Especially, I think Dan.
Gave up on you.
Especially, I think Dan, the firefighter, who's still with us. He's around to this day. He's living down in Florida, chilling, retired. Seen him a couple of years back at the firehouse on the 9/11 anniversary.
You see, and you're doing better. Yo.
Yeah.
Like, Dan was proud of you.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
See that, man?
I'm getting teared up just thinking about it, man. But
yeah, bro, no doubt.
It was a crazy time, bro. It was a crazy time. It was a changing point in my life. The end. I'll end it here with that story.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful story. It was a beautiful way to end it. I got out of there. Whatever time it was, maybe a month. At least a month. I got out of there in good behavior. I got out, and it was a nice facility. Not gonna lie though, they had basketball hoops and everything like that. So when I wasn't fucking yeeted with the fucking pills, I was shooting some hoops and shit, playing some games. But yeah, I got to know those guys. Couple of arsonists too. There's one guy that burned down like a fucking Walmart or something. It was fucking fabulous.
It's fabulous.
But I get out of there, man. I get out of there. All right, and the school year is coming to an end. And again, this was my graduating year. I was supposed to go to freshman year of high school. So, like, what happens now, right? I'm not allowed to go back. Do I just repeat 8th grade? Do I go to another school? What's going on? I end up being invited to the graduation.
Yeah.
I receive my report card in the mail. I got straight A's across the board.
Go?
No, Dub. All the teachers gave me straight A's.
Why didn't you go to the graduation?
Oh, you mean? Oh, I thought you meant that. I mean, I thought you were talking about school. Of course I went. Yeah.
Oh.
Did
you deserve straight A's?
Yeah. They gave me straight A's, bro.
So you were doing
and
all your schoolwork,
all those
and then when you were
kids.
off.
No,
You just
no,
started
bro,
becoming a menace.
no schoolwork, Dub. No, I didn't do nothing.
They just did that.
They just did that.
Oh, they were riding with you, baby.
They just did that, bro. I got out straight A's, and the first time anybody ever seen me was on graduation day.
Matty Flames at graduation.
Matty Flames.
Gonna stick now.
Oh, man.
Hell no, that shit is lit, bro. Oh, I said it's lit.
Yeah.
My bad.
So
No,
there you
man,
go.
that's
That's
the new
my
name.
story.
Yeah, that's the new nickname, yo.
Yeah, Matty.
Yo, bro.
I think what
I know
Taz said. Taz said Matty Blaze. Matty Blaze.
Matty Blaze. All of that shit.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever. All of them. All of them.
We don't want this nickname going out. All right, I don't need to explain this. I don't need to. I mean, now I gotta explain the story. I know. Well, if they watch the show, I guess Listen.
Yeah, send them the link. Don't explain it to kids. Just play. I don't know. Send them the link.
You want to know the story? Go watch the show.
Yeah, go to the link. Text them the link.
Go watch a grown man cry on YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah,
all right.
It's all good. That was real. That shit was raw though. We're authentic over here.
That's my story with that. I'm glad to share it with you guys. I know, like, it's I forget that. I do because it's good to share.
I'm gonna share some stories next time.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's get to it here with the mental health video of the week, because we got an hour and I didn't even play it once. Usually I play it at the beginning of the show and end of the show, but we got a little carried away today, and that's what this show's all about. So let me cue that up for you guys. I got everybody in here. All right, Task. Love the authenticity. Yes, that's what this show's all about, man. It's a beautiful
Chris,
thing.
Man, you set this shit off. This is one of the best shows ever. Another one, yeah. And then we did because of you set the spark or set the flame, to make this a great show.
Indeed. All right, folks. This is this week's mental health video of the week, just in time. If you haven't already done so, go check it out. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's on my personal page and the Epis radio pages. All right, folks. Another Chris, cool. Dub, I'm gonna mute your audio there for the stream. You could keep yours going. Don't worry. All right, here it is. Detach for a while. Simplify life. Surround yourself with joy and laughter. Put yourself out there. Try something new. Just might have a little fun. Keep showing up. I'll run that back one more time. Detach for a while. Simplify life. Surround yourself with joy and laughter. Put yourself out there. Try something new. Just might have a little fun. Keep showing up. The video of the week. What you guys think?
It was smooth, man.
You like it?
Short. Yeah.
Yeah, a little shorty.
The fire pit, man.
That was the shortest one, I think.
Yeah, that fire pit though.
I have a couple out there that are pretty short. That was about 27 seconds overall.
That's to the point,
Um,
man.
right. Sometimes I like to do those. I really had in mind this week to do the two-person interaction. I know you guys love those. I promise like next week's I'm gonna do that for that one. Because I
Yeah, a
had
little bit
something
more time
planned.
on those.
And I had some plan and I was gonna do it. I just got inspired to say this and do this week. Something over the weekend. Again, I went camping on the weekend.
That
Uh,
fire
you
pit,
know,
bro.
Sitting around the campfire. Right. It kind of just like sparked a thought
You
in
dope.
me. And again, it's exactly what I did. I just detached for a little bit this weekend. Got away. Sitting in the woods, had some good company. I was hanging with a friend of mine. He's about to have a kid. I'm the godfather of a child. I got to meet his wife. It was all good. Hanging with their kids, brought my kids up. Dorothy's there. The whole time, and just having a good time, sitting by the campfire. And just again, it's about detaching, getting, experiencing nature. I'm always a big proponent of nature. And that other second line, simplifying your life, sometimes is necessary. We're doing a lot. We're doing a lot.
Yeah, man. Always
And
thinking about stuff,
hell
thinking,
yeah.
thinking, thinking, going crazy. The more you know, like ignorance is bliss, bro, but we need knowledge. So it's like a conundrum with that. Like,
So you need to you need to settle the mind. You need to kind of reset for a little bit, and that's what it's about. And then just the rest of the message. Try new things. Of course, that's always without go saying. You should always kind of venture out your comfort zone a little bit within reason, and but you know, do it up. And just enjoy yourself. Have a good time. And you know, keep showing up, man. That's
hmm
it.
I
facts,
remember
man.
that's what I was telling you about today. Remember, Matt, about I wasn't sure if I was ready for this and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's one thing like the chat can take away from this. You know, you keep telling yourself you're never ready, you're never going to be ready, and that kind of has to do with mental health as
hmm
well, right? Like,
Hmm.
you're basically getting in your head and holding
Being in
yourself
your
back.
own head. Yeah.
You're never going to be ready if you tell yourself you're not ready. You just got to dive in eventually. You're not, like they say, you are what you eat. I like to say you are what you think. You know what I mean?
Hmm. You
So
got to manifest it, no doubt, right? I
yeah,
mean, it's a huge part of life. You just wake up and oh, today is going to be a bad day. Well, it's going to be a freaking bad day. Like need to get into that mindset, man, because it's true. You can manifest happiness. These are just emotions, man. This shit comes and goes. You could, it's your perspective, right, of how you look at things. I mean, I used to be miserable going to work. Now I actually look forward to it.
Right. It's
yeah,
getting the day started and being
You
productive,
know,
making it happen.
right?
yeah. It's about
Because you're
your
not only
outlook.
thinking about
Your
yourself.
outlook.
That's why it's not about you all no anymore all the time. When it was
Hmm.
just we had to worry about you, you're worrying about other things, other people.
Bigger
So it's
picture,
easy to
bigger
go to
picture.
work, and so you can get what you need to get to make them better, and you like that. So
Sure.
I think
you know,
the hardest part is implementing that type of thinking every day. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You have to like really stay on top of like, like the
the
book,
discipline.
The Secret. Like to think about what you want. I have wealth, I have health.
Right.
I'm happy. I'm gonna have a great
There's
day
so many
today.
distractions that can
So
take you
cliche,
away from that
funny, but
shit.
it's true. Right? Yeah,
There's so
yeah.
many
And that's the
distractions,
key.
and you
Don't let
can
it.
and you're trying to lock in, and things are gonna pull you away. And if you gotta, it's up to you to stop it.
Right.
At the end
And
of the
you know
day,
that
we
you
have
can
to take
stick with it.
accountability for our destiny.
Right. Yeah,
We
yeah,
can
yeah.
blame, and we've all blamed, and there's some of the blame is warranted. Some things didn't have to happen to you when you didn't have control over it. But are you gonna, look at Matty, what he was talking about? He could have easily just went this way,
Hmm. Yeah.
you know, you know what I mean? But like you were saying earlier, you were talking about Chris, you were talking about if you always think you're not ready. And when you said that, I'm gonna tell you what I thought about. This is maybe just me. Let's see if you guys relate. But getting in that pool, bro, when it's cold as hell, and you know it's cold, or the water, the beach, whatever. But you're like, I'm gonna get in it eventually. The pool will say because you just got your feet in there. But once you get, you like, I know it's gonna be cold. But once you get in there and you pop out, you're like, oh, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? You did it.
I did it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels good now. But that going part where that body temperature says,
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
you just gotta do it. You just gotta
Initially.
show up.
Well, that's the breaking point. That's the breaking point. It's going beyond that wall, right? You hit that wall of the where your comfort zone is, and you just the natural reaction, right, is to just run away from it.
It's
and
easy to run.
right. That's the easy part. You got to go forward. You got to keep on moving, one step at a time, and once you break through that barrier, you'll be happier for it for sure. And
I
again,
mean, Matt,
yeah.
I'm sorry, go back, Matt.
No, you're good. You're good. You got it.
Okay. I mean, Chris, I know Chris will agree, and I know you will agree too. And at the end of the day, the biggest thing is accountability and looking at the man in the mirror and knowing that it's you, and not pushing it to anyone. Like even stuff that is other people had fault in. Like I said, we're still responsible for our lives, for ourselves. It's
Right.
taking responsibility like you did here and just doing what you did. When you do stuff like that, man, nobody can touch you, bro. When you can say who you are and be who you are, whether through the faults, through the highs and lows, through the warts and the smooth skin, all of it, and just be who you are. And no one could. Like, remember when Eminem in 8 Mile when he started dissing himself, and then
Yeah.
nobody could touch him after that type shit like that. I'm here, guys. And like now, because there's so much, like you said, there's so many outside forces that can take you away from your recovery, or take you away from being focused into what you want, or take me away from whatever I want, and whatever, man.
And
But if we let these outside forces take us away from it, whose fault is that? At the
True
end of
to
the day,
yourself, honest with yourself.
well, just something that you have done. You have taken accountability in many
it
ways
will.
in
Yeah,
your life.
because once you do that,
Yeah.
you can fix your problem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How do
You
you
can't do it if
feel?
you're like,
Very true.
How do you feel, Chris? Now, how far is it along in the sober journey with alcohol? How far has it been for you now?
I haven't really. I stopped counting, but it's,
Yeah.
it's probably about 54 days or something like that.
Okay.
55,
Yeah.
which for me is outrageous. I mean, you're talking about
mm.
30 years, and I don't know when I was able to say
So
that.
so
If
your
I ever was.
body's done a lot of changes in that time to
Sure.
not be
Oh
without it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Positive.
bro. Yeah. My body's working the way it should now. Finally, since like I was a teenager.
You're yeah. Wow.
Working the best it's been. I lost a ton of weight. Right, I didn't even weigh myself. I'm going to, but I lost a ton of weight rapidly. Yeah, I mean it's just so much better. You're running and hiding, and you're not doing anything. You're making everything worse. So
Can you tell us about some of the new hobbies you picked up since you've been really into your recovery and making so much progress? What other things are you doing with your time?
well, I haven't gotten into the hobbies yet. I mean, this way,
You were
this
saying a little
Well,
something earlier.
this is certainly
Comes
one
back.
of them.
yeah. I mean, this is definitely probably the first one.
Well,
But it's
you
more
were
so
working
like
out. You working out.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a
yeah,
hobby.
working out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started working out again. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, and wanting to do this now too is like huge. But I think just more my mentality, my mentality changed. Like I handle things a lot better. Things don't get to me as much.
Mm.
Not everything seems like a crazy task. You know what I mean? I'm more
Mhm.
capable. Yeah, just
Wow.
my thinking is just clearer and more positive, and I don't think I realized how the alcohol was just making me a very angry person.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
like I was an angry drunk or anything, but
Mm.
just looking back, it just really
Just
held
kind
me
of
back,
maybe like
man.
bitter, maybe a little bit. Just
Yeah, bitter, and
yeah. Yeah.
just everything was just like an
It's
annoyance.
heavy. It's a heavy substance. It pulls you. It takes you.
Seriously, yeah.
It's weight. It's weight.
Right.
It's a weight. Yeah.
I was just constantly feeling like crap, you know what I mean? And then once you stop and you're able to take a look back at that, it's like wow, like you could really see how much it was actually affecting you, man. And I recommend it to anyone, man. Just like if you think you're having a problem, do whatever you have to do to go straight, man, because it really is the best way. There's no better way to handle your issues than with a clear head. You know what I mean?
So I wanna ask you another question. When Matty asked you earlier about regrets, and you said, "Yeah, I got regrets." And when you said that, I was like, "I hope he says yes," because we have to have regrets. Like soulless people have no regrets. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have regrets. You know what I mean? Like, come on. And I was like, "Yeah, I like this guy. I like him." So can you you know what I mean? I mean, I can imagine it. Like you said, I pick up a bottle, but I just wanted I mean, can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, where do I start? There's a lot of regrets, man, but I try to live in the moment now.
Right, right.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of regrets. Like, I blew through so much money. Definitely would have been further along in life, career wise, and doing what I wanted to do instead of just talking
Does some of
about it.
that stuff, those like setbacks or just that reflection, does some of that motivate you for going forward? Like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna make the best.
Yeah,
Like, you know.
yeah, definitely, and especially now that you're able to think about that stuff and actually like work towards it, because you're not just drinking in place of working towards it.
And you were
You
getting a
know,
lot of these things while you were. So imagine with a clear mind, you can probably even do way better.
yeah. I try to be in the moment. I have a tattoo that says "Be here now" on my forearm, so
No, I
I
agree with
try
you a
to
thousand
be
percent.
right. It's like that's the way to be. But we're human. We're gonna look back. We're gonna have
Yeah,
regrets.
yeah. No, a man who
Sometimes
lives
it's
in the
good
past
to
has
not
no
forget.
future, yo.
Chris,
Right.
what were some of the money decisions that you made? That you regret specifically. Like if you don't mind sharing.
Some of the what?
Some
What's
of
that?
the money decisions, the financial decisions, like you said, wasting a lot of money, things like that. Like what were some of those like scenarios in which may have been a big factor in your life. One that you really regret. All right, if you want to share, you don't have to. It's all
Yeah, I mean, well, probably the biggest thing, just the alcohol leading to drugs, man, and just
good.
spending a ton of money on that shit,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just thinking about how much I could have had, what I could have had if I didn't do that. Just being careless with money, throwing money around like crazy. It all adds up into so many different things. You're eating more than you would. You're
Yeah,
ordering out without care. You want to go out and sit down and have a drink, and then therefore you get hungry, so you're like spending a ton of money
Right.
on that. And it's like I'm going out like a few days a week, 3, 5 days a week, and I'm spending like 60, $70 each time, hundred
Yeah,
dollars
yeah.
each time, and you wonder how the hell you even kept it up. But that goes to show if you want something really bad, you could
you
do
could
it.
do it, yeah, and you wanted to
You can
get
get it.
nice, so you
Mm,
made it happen.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't want to be that way and you really work towards it,
Right.
imagine the great thing. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I've always been like a person of ambition and all that stuff, and but I definitely would have been in a lot better place if I wasn't drinking as much as I was. It just kind of became a normal thing. It was pretty much every
You were
day.
supporting yourself though. You were getting the bottle on your own. You weren't in your parents' money or nothing. Like you was doing your own
Right.
thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So that's why
Functioning.
you're able to sustain it, functioning.
Mhm.
Because probably you're a good soul, so you weren't gonna put your problems on no one else. I'm gonna go get this bottle myself. You never. I gotta work. I gotta get
Mm,
money
mm.
so I can.
I did what I had to
Yeah.
do. I mean, that's where
Right.
kind of, the whole drugs thing, then you start getting into, selling them and all that shit, so you could, you make money, but also you get
You're able
drugs
to
for
use. I
free.
did it with weed, for sure,
Yeah, it's like,
100%. Yeah, because I've been smoking
mhm,
weed forever. I don't even know if I want to, and I don't even know anymore. But I like
right.
it.
Yeah.
I want to wave
Yeah.
the wand. I don't,
Hmm.
definitely But anyway, yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
any other substance that like you struggle with at a younger age? I know now,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
we all smoke a little weed, but now I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
talking, other
The
things,
real
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, the real shit, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, no, definitely. Coke like crazy. I mean,
Mm,
probably for 2 decades I was heavy into that.
okay. That's a long extended time for that
Yeah,
type of usage, yeah. When I go back
yeah,
to my coke usage, like there was really just a short period in my life where, I was dabbling a little bit. I did a couple of times over the years, just like, blue moon type thing, take a couple of bumps, but
Right, that party bump.
it was never. I even did it one time at City Field with I was at a game with my mother and my friend.
Yeah,
We go to the bathroom. All right, quick bump, back to the
it wasn't
seats.
your thing
right.
though.
Nah, it wasn't my thing. Never really. I just hated the way it made you feel. I felt like I was dying afterwards. When you were coming down off of it, it felt like you were dying. I could never get behind it because the only way to feel better was getting more, and that was the fucking problem.
Mhm.
So and that's a very slippery slope, and that's just a ugh,
That's
this
it.
is just a filthy drug. Oh my god.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
Definitely regret picking up a few different things. Thank God it's in the past. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
man, how much holding back did we do? We held ourselves back probably a lot. I know I did,
Oh, sure.
just from doing that stuff. Often the way I did. It was crazy, man. You look back, you're like, well, when is this gonna stop? You realize one day it's like I gotta stop this shit. And then you
Man, God
settle
got a
in,
plan for you, bro. You're
drinking
still
hits
here. You
quick.
still have a lot of opportunity. Like, you still look good.
Right, which is like I don't know how,
I know
so
you
I
got
gotta
dead
take this
friends. I
time,
know you got dead friends and shit.
no, forget it, bro.
45. I know you do. From New York City. I know you do.
You want to
So,
tell?
and you look
Do you want to share to the people a little about your background there, Mister?
I mean, where do I start, bro?
Well, I was gonna say Mister Zulu, but yeah.
Yeah. No,
uh,
I was always out there, man. I was always out and
yeah,
about. Um, always doing, yeah. I was always out and about, man. Hanging out, with the wrong crowd, and some of them was the right
yeah,
crowd, just
yeah.
doing the wrong things and stuff like that.
Wrong time.
Yeah. I ran the streets and all that shit, but like, it was pretty ugly, man. It was ugly at times. I lost a lot of friends, and I still am. I'm hearing about associates that are dying. Their
Yeah,
mother
yeah, for
finding
sure.
them dead in their bedroom, and it's like they're 38, 40 years old, and their mother
Yeah,
finding them
yeah.
overdosed in their bed. And like
You
it's like
still
I
here
had like
though.
two good friends from my childhood that are like on the straight path now too. So I think that's
yeah,
why they're
yeah.
still around. You know what I mean? Is that they didn't continue doing all that shit. But yeah, man, I was always out and about. Yeah, definitely was. I was like part of a little crew and all that stuff. Well, it was more than a little crew. I know you heard of Zulu Nation and all that shit. Um, I was always out there,
Wow.
just getting into something, man. Running around all the bad areas, selling and all that shit. Getting into
You was in
crazy
a
shit.
gang.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was more like an organization back then, but there were definitely
Whatever, bro. I
chapters.
know Zulu, bro. I'm
I was
from
about to
Coney
say,
Island. I
you
know
know
Zulu.
Zulu. I was about to say,
Gang,
we
yo.
ran,
There
bro.
were definitely chapters that were
Chapter.
very
Chat.
gang like. You know what I mean?
Gang.
Look at W.
Yeah.
He's like calling you out, bro.
No, 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 no. I'm not calling them out. It was a gang.
No,
Hey,
I
you
know.
call an
It
organization.
is what
They're
it
not,
is, man.
they have more organization
A
than the
a
Crips or blood.
duck's
Yes.
a duck, all right.
I mean, they all start off as political organizations. They all did.
Yeah. So
Nah,
it
listen.
was
Hey, Chris. Hey,
it was
Chris.
deep, man. Yeah, it was deep. I mean, I got stories for days with that shit, but
Yeah,
you know, but I mean, it was fun at the same time. But yeah, man, you just it just kind of goes, it spirals. You start to see one ugly thing after the next, and then it's like, oh, you want to really get fucked up now. You know what I mean? You want to run off and just drink this and do this drug and do that. It just spiraled. It just That's your way of coping with everything. You seeing friends get in trouble, dying, this, that. I fucking saved my friend's life one time. Getting stabbed in front of me. If I wasn't there, he probably would have died.
Right.
Um, just a lot of crazy stuff, man. A lot of wild times, man. But it didn't really pay off all that much. You know what I mean? It's like for what? What did it really do? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
well, do you take any good experience out of it? Do you feel like it, or it was just all negative?
nah. You,
Looking
you,
back
you
on it
can
for
find
you.
good. You can find good in that stuff, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, I think you can, because it helps you learn. You know what I mean? Helps you
sure.
learn how you don't want to be, or where you went wrong that still catches up to you today. Because like my father said, everything you do sticks with you for the rest of your life. You got to really think twice before you do things. But it made me who I am today. It made me learn. You know what I'm saying? It made me learn how to deal with certain situations and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, no, you could definitely take some positives from it. Definitely learn and navigate through life a certain way because of your past and all that, and you know things that I feel are a good way to be, but also there's a lot of negative to it. Like I said, held myself back. I wish I
Sure.
would have went a different route, but
I think you got a great mindset, man. I think you're gonna be great. You're gonna be fine. I think your goals, you're gonna reach a lot of them, going forward. Cause like your energy to me, like it's very impressive though. You got a good vibe. And you're very honest, you're brave. It's not easy, man. It's not
mm,
easy doing this shit, man. It's not even
No,
getting up and showing up. You know what I mean? You can even
right,
do that. But
no.
shit, I really have a lot of respect, man.
Chris, you mentioned to me that you're no longer going to the AA meetings. You started off with AA, but we talked about it privately. You said that there was some reasons as to why you chose to stop going. You were seeking other alternatives. Speak about that a little bit, for the people and what they might
Mm.
encounter, and
Yeah,
speak about the other alternatives that are out there. I think they're good.
right. Yeah, no, one thing that it made me want to do, where I realized I couldn't stop drinking on my own one day not long ago, and I just walked into an AA meeting, and I was going consistently, and now I haven't gone for like 3 weeks.
Hmm.
But one thing I learned from that is like it opened my mind to everything, to all this other stuff that I could do to
Hmm.
help keep myself on that path. Pick up new hobbies. I want to get a guitar. There's other services out there that you could use, such as smart recovery. You could go to therapy and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, it did open my mind to, okay, you could try new things. Like there's multiple avenues I want to use to keep myself on the right track, away from alcohol and all that stuff. Uh,
Explain the smart recovery. That was what you're referencing there.
Yeah, it's very similar to AA, but they don't really harp. That's what I didn't like about AA. It's like they didn't harp on it. They harped on it. Like I just constantly felt like I was an addict in a gloomy state whenever I
Hmm.
went to a meeting or something. And
Right, right, right.
Mm.
more so like with this, they kind of just work on life skills. Like what's this skill we can use for the week or focus on or something. Where I don't know, AA, I would just walk in there. You, you
And
know,
listen to stories and shit.
yeah, 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 yeah. And you're surrounded by a ton of people just like staring at. I mean, it's good. It helps. It definitely helps. But there's certain things that I didn't like about it where I felt like it was kind of pulling me away from it. Like the
Mm.
whole having this title over you, like, oh, I'm an alcoholic. I'm forever an addict. I'm forever an
Mm.
That might
alcoholic.
not be the way for everyone, right? Their way.
Mm.
Right. Yeah, I just felt like for me, it was like I kept going there and putting this hyper focus on me being an alcoholic, and
Forever, yeah.
I was already getting tired of being like, "Hi, my name's Chris, and I'm an alcoholic." Like,
Yo, so
and I
Chris,
feel
like when
like
you
I don't
say
want to
that,
identify as that because I feel like
Mm.
then I'll forever be that. I was an
right?
alcoholic. I'm not now. I'm not powerless to it because I would have never walked into that room. I would never be
Right, right.
going 50 days if I was powerless to it. Um, I don't want to keep identifying as that because I feel like I'm just gonna fall back into that category again. Like
You
I'm a guy
know,
that just doesn't want to drink like I used to, and that's it.
they have like this whole program for everyone to go to do it that way, but everyone's different. It's like teaching and kids, students, they all don't learn the same. So, when you said that, I was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. And I feel
Yeah,
you when you said that. Like probably people like, oh, you're leaving the program,
yeah, you get
but
flack from
nah,
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
he
people
got this
texting
shit.
you
He
like,
got
"Yo, what's up?" They were worried. I'm like, "Bro, I'm still
yeah,
good."
nah,
I
I'm
get it.
not drinking it. I got
I
it
get
though.
it. But
It's interesting because
yeah,
most of the time people leave AA and you kind of think the
Yeah,
worst, and it's like, oh,
nah.
like, oh, they're not, I hope they don't fall off the wagon, things
When
like
he
that. And
said it, I
oftentimes
believed
people
him, bro.
too.
Like, word, I
Yeah,
feel you, bro.
yeah,
He
yeah.
want to do this, but he took what he got to take out of it.
right, right.
Like everything he took, he absorbed
Right,
in a few weeks. He went,
right.
and he's like, all right, I'm good. I'm
Mm.
not gonna keep doing it. I want to move on to the next shit
hmm
now
I'm
with
not
what
saying
I
I'm
got.
not going to go back to meetings. I'm planning
No,
on
no,
going back
no.
soon. I just to make it an everyday thing. It's like at
Right.
some point I don't want to talk about
You,
this
it
like
becomes you.
every single day. I want to
It
move on.
becomes you.
Yeah, I want to try new hobbies. I want to get like into all types of things now that I'm not drinking. I always knew the shit that I said I was going to do. I never was going to do it because I would just come home and drink instead. Tomorrow I'll start reading. Tomorrow I'll start working out. And it's like, I noticed the ones that relapse are the ones that go in there saying, I'm a chronic, hi, my name's so I'm a forever alcoholic. Or I'm a
And then
chronic
one day they
relapse.
say, "Fuck it, let me have a drink. Yo, I'm alcohol again."
Yeah, it's like I'm a chronic
Mm.
relapse. So I'm like, well, if you identify as that, then I
Right.
feel like that's
Well,
what's going to
they
be.
be saying that I'm a chronic relapser.
Yeah, yeah, people
Oh
say that.
my
And it's like,
Yeah,
god,
right.
that's like
get it,
that's
they feel like
wild.
they have to be honest
It
with
is
themselves.
wild.
But
I
at
agree.
the same
Yeah.
time, I want to get away from that. I don't want to stay stuck in that type of thinking, because I was for years I knew I was an
That wouldn't
addict,
work
and I
for
was
me. That
always
wouldn't work.
telling myself that I'm an
It wouldn't
addict.
work for me either. I agree.
Nah.
It really wouldn't. I think it's because
Yeah,
we have a different mindset. It's almost as
Yeah.
if it's like kind of enabling the behavior. It's like you
Yeah.
are this
'Cause if you
person, and
keep
you're always
saying,
going to
yeah,
be that.
you're
Like,
gonna become them.
yeah,
Yeah, you'll become them
it's what we
eventually.
were talking about before in manifesting. I mean, if
Right,
you wake
manifest.
up
Yeah,
and
you kind of
it's going to be a
manifesting it.
bad day. It's going to be a bad day. You tell
So if I'm
yourself
a
you're an
chronic
alcoholic.
relapser, when am I gonna relapse again?
Right, exactly.
Right.
When's the next time?
I get to
Break the
choose. All
cycle.
right.
Yeah, right. That's
Wild.
the vernacular is
nah,
way
yeah.
off. The vernacular is way
Yes.
off there. Yeah.
Yeah, to me,
100%.
I'm not like that. I feel like it all depends on how bad I want something. I always was an ambitious person, and if I really want something, I'm fucking it up. Like I'm taking off. You know what I
That's
mean?
what I'm
Like
talking about.
it's about how bad I want it. So I just feel like it's helpful, but for me to go there every day and put this hyper focus on, I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic. I don't want to go into some room every day and say, "Hi, I'm an alcoholic."
Right.
Like eventually, I don't want to keep identifying as that. I want to move forward.
You know,
So, well, you got to be careful too. You got to be honest with yourself at the same time. Like, if you start feeling like you're gonna slip, this thing you have to just stay busy. You have to stay really busy and positive, and keep yourself around good people that are doing good things, and just stay busy, man. That's like the key. There's got to be some outlet that you have. You can't just sit there and sit on your hands, because like a guy like me, that's not gonna work. So as long as I'm staying busy with something,
yeah.
that's what
Well,
counts.
that's a key. I mean, obviously, just being unproductive and not doing anything is going to lead to a lot of other mental health issues, if not a relapse in substance abuse. I mean, that's not a path that you ever want to go to. You got to keep busy. You got to do something, right? You always got to do something. If you're not doing anything, what are you doing? You're not living.
Find some place or find something to
Yeah,
show up to, man.
right.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, so
task. Chris, did you have something there?
what's that?
Oh no, I thought you had something else to say there, real quick. I was just gonna
No.
reference the chat real quick. Task was asking about you. He came in a little late to the show, I believe. Task, thank you for showing up, man. Appreciate you. He's
The
asking
great taskmaster.
he's asking where you work, and he wants to hear more about you, Chris. I don't know if you want to reintroduce yourself to the people in the show at this late stage, or I could just give him a little bit of a quickie, But Task is asking about you, bro.
Yeah, no, my name's Chris. I work in cancer care, so I work with cancer patients and drawing blood and whatnot.
He works with
But yeah,
me.
yeah, I work with Matty. Yeah, yeah, met Matt at work, and we became friends right away. Real cool dude. Yeah,
Hey,
that's what I
Dan
do. I
Dan.
take care of others. I spend all my time taking care of others, and I realized I wasn't taking care of myself, and that's what we got to do. You know, we got to take care of ourselves as well. Because
And
I was taking care of a lot of people and totally ignoring myself.
what's up, Dan? And yes, and now you've held yourself accountable, and you're
Right.
on this journey to recovery. And I've been fortunate enough to see you from the beginning stages of your recovery, even when you were drinking. It's and we kind of met on that. It was interesting. Our relationship kind of like boosted off of bonding over drinking. We had a little bit of a sake thing going on there for a little bit.
Mhm.
And it was fun. It was cool, but I guess the signs were there. Um,
Right. Right.
and you took it upon yourself, man, to better yourself. And I've watched you in every step. I've been by your side through every step. You know that. I'll be there if you need me at any given time of the day, any night. And you look great, man. You look great. How many days now? 55, 50 something like that. It's, I've seen the transformation. I could tell immediately the
Mm,
second you stopped drinking. You lost a lot of weight. You chiseled up a
Right.
little bit. There was a vibrancy in your skin and color that I haven't seen before. Your energy was at an
wow.
all-time high. Yeah, man, he's been pretty much, there's a changed
You
man.
can
I
see
mean,
the
it's
difference.
it's
Wow.
complete
And he
180,
could feel
bro.
it.
Yeah, no
He
doubt.
knows it. It's
Thank
a
you.
beautiful
Yeah.
thing, man.
It absolutely is, man. It absolutely is. What's up, Dan? Dan, how are you doing? Thanks for showing up.
Dan.
It's been a minute. Been a minute. We appreciate
Dan ain't
you.
been around?
I haven't seen Dan Dan, man. What you been doing, Dan
Yeah.
Dan? What you been up to lately? We got a special guest on the show tonight. It's my
Yeah, we
coworker,
do.
Chris. All right, we've been talking about his journey through recovery with alcoholism and the grieving process, losing family members, as he lost one recently. A tough battle to cancer, and yeah, it's been a hell of a journey for my friend Chris here. And I thought it'd be a good idea to come on the show and as a part of his journey, like kind of like a better version of an AA, right? Like this is the AA I would want. You know what I mean? Like this is the
Yeah.
type of discussion that I would like to have and sit down and talk about. I don't want to sit in a circle and yeah, just talk about me being a chronic relapser and this is how I go about my life. With no real I guess the end goal there is to stop, but you know, is it helping in that way? Does it help everybody? Yeah, I'm sure it helps some. I know a few, that have
I'm
gone to
sure it worked for
AA.
some people.
I
I
guess
mean, it helped
everybody's
me get
different. Sure. I mean, it,
Mhm.
it definitely set the foundation for you to move on to where you need to be. So I wouldn't talk badly about it in any way, shape, or
No,
form. But there are other alternatives that can get to a person. It's not the only route that you need to, and it's nice for people to know that and hear that.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it going to AA so consistently, then suddenly stopping as someone that
hmm
drinks a lot, But
Yeah,
like
that's a
for
tough
me,
move. That's a tough move to
yeah,
make. Yeah.
it's probably not smart. But
I was
like for me,
genuinely
it's like
concerned for you when you made it. Yeah. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. I just needed something to get me there. I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop on my own. I literally could not stop. I would say, "Oh, tomorrow I'll stop," and I just needed
you
something
forgot.
to get me over the hump. But the key is I got to stay busy, keep doing things that are going to keep me on that path. Keep myself around people that are not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just staying really busy, and yeah, I mean that's just the key. But I mean, I wouldn't recommend just stopping suddenly, but at the same time, I don't know. Everybody's different.
Right, yeah. It might work.
Uh,
It worked for you.
right. Yeah. There's other stuff that I'm looking to get into that I am getting into. But yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna stop going altogether.
All right.
But yeah,
Well,
but
you
you
mentioned
know,
the what was it, smart
smart
some
recovery.
smart recovery. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You mentioned that, and I think that's a great alternative. Things like this helps therapy. You know, definitely. Look into it. Keep doing your thing with that.
yeah,
Um,
and like there's nothing I want to say for the people out there. There's nothing wrong with therapy. You know what I mean? A lot of people feel like, oh, I had a lot of negative outlooks towards it too.
Even to
It's
this
like,
day and age,
yeah, not as much, but like
crazy.
your pride gets in the way, your manhood or whatever. It's like, oh, do I really need this? I can handle this on my own, but a lot of times we can't. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with getting into it and doing better for yourself, treating yourself better, learning skills to do that. Never be ashamed to just go somewhere and talk to someone because that's a big problem, man. Especially with men, it's like we're told we can't talk, we can't have emotion, we get all this baggage thrown on us, and we're supposed to just be like, "Oh, I got this, I'm tough, strong shoulders." Like, yeah, you can have strong shoulders and still take care of your issues and speak about them and seek help for them, and
yeah.
there's
Strong
really
shoulders
nothing
break
wrong with
too,
that.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, strong shoulders break.
yeah,
It's
there's
good.
nothing wrong with getting help.
It's good to open up your emotions. It's good to cry a little.
Maddie, we
Get
know.
in touch.
We know. You gave it up
There
earlier.
you
Maddie
go,
was giving guys.
man.
If y'all wasn't here, Maddie was giving it up earlier. What a show tonight. Oh, yeah.
Indeed,
He's getting them
indeed.
tears in. Yeah, man. Beautiful. What a show tonight.
Indeed, indeed. Um, well, while we have you guys here in the chat, we are getting to a close. It is late. We've been going now an hour and 30 minutes. I know there's a lot of pent up emotions since we're on the topic of it for us tonight because we are all three
Hour
Knicks.
and 30 minutes. I thought we was here an hour.
Now, hour and 33 minutes, man. We've been
Oh,
going.
wow.
Um,
It don't
yeah,
feel that long.
there's a bit of pent up emotions for us tonight, being that we went live the second the Knicks crowned victory in a game, in a big playoff game, probably the biggest in like 20 years. So it's been in the back of my mind. I just want to like scream out the window in a
Big Nick
mountaintop.
fans, all of us.
you know, but here we are, and again, it's important, right? A part of the mental health video of the week is detaching a little bit. And as much as I love my sports, the fandom that I have, you know, this to me was more important than being there in that moment and really just, enjoying that.
This is
Um,
life, man. This is real.
right,
This is it. This
right.
is our lives.
And it will always be that way, right? I will always cherish a conversation with a friend or family member or just, a stranger. And just, having that intimacy, that one on one, sitting around a campfire, type
To learn
talk.
something. You learn a thing or two, man.
Right, and just the human experience overall, man. I think it's so uh, few and far between nowadays. We're so wrapped up in our screens and our phones, and it's we just lose sight, man. We lose sight of the little things. We take the little things for granted. We
It'll
don't
be the little
cherish,
things that'll
you
remind
know.
you too about like who you are, where you've been, and who you are, and what you're about. And like if you're going off the track, like it's a little thing, just those reminders. Sometimes it's be a friend of yours, you say something, it just triggers you to remember something else. I'm talking
Hmm.
about it at your best. You trigger me all the time. Like remind me I'm the guy. Like I'm the man.
Yeah.
You're in your head, your confidence, depression, and all those other things, man. That we all go through that we never talk about. Like my man said, like Big Chris said, just recognizing who you are because it's easy to think that no one cares, but people do. Maybe they
Yeah.
don't care as much as we'd like them to, but they have their own
Well,
lives,
well,
things.
people want to, people have that inherent need to want to relate to others. I believe. They may
That's
not
where we
know
get,
it.
Yeah,
They may not
definitely.
know it,
one
but there's that comfort level, man, that you can find in another
man,
person.
100%, man. When you
You
feel
know.
the people with those vibrations as you, like today, I feel so comfortable. My feet are up. I'm just,
We're
yeah.
we're
I'm
creatures
not
of connection, man.
right.
Creatures of
No
connection.
doubt. You're right. You meet your people, bro. Your people are people you're going to get with them. So what I'm
Right.
saying is like not everybody's for you or me or him,
Hmm. Hmm.
but those people who are for you, you'll meet them, you're gonna get with them, and you're gonna respect them, you're gonna respect their space, you're gonna respect their thoughts because it's gonna be similar to you. The way it's understanding, man. A lot of it is understanding. If we have more understanding, the world will be a better place. Because a lot of times as humanity, we refuse to understand each other. We want to compare problems or measure cocks and tits
Mm-hmm.
against the next person's, and that shit is whack, bro. This shit is real. Like I like this, this is good. And it's like it's another reminder to me. Like when I get off here, I'm gonna take a deep breath, and tomorrow I'm gonna try to be as productive as I've been all month. And I've had a pretty productive month, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go hard tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You guys gave me that reminder tonight.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. Wake up and have a productive day, man.
Yeah,
Stay positive,
So
be
important.
productive.
You
That's
know.
key.
your words for
So
me can be like money, bro, or better than money, better a dollar than like the right things you say to people, being kind to people. Even strangers that you'll see one time. You could take a load off of them. And the world will pay it. You don't pay it for back to you, pay it forward. You'll get it
acts of
back.
kindness, man. Yeah,
Especially when you don't
No,
do it
acts
for
of
nothing.
kindness.
and even if you don't, you did the right
Yeah, even
thing.
if you don't,
You know.
right.
You know what I
I'm about to
mean?
say that. That's not why
Yeah,
even you do it.
don't let that
Right.
stop you.
Right. Don't let that stop you being who you are. Me and Chris talk about that a lot. We tend to move a bit different at work than others. I've seen, come across a lot of, workers in the healthcare field. Dub, as well. You've seen it. You know, just those that, care a little less. You know what I mean? And like I just
Yeah, yeah,
never,
yeah. I never thought
again,
I didn't like that.
I've always been the type to go above and beyond and not have that feeling reciprocated, not only in my work life, but in my relationships outside of the work, right? With friends or family. I'll go the extra mile. If I got $20 in my pocket, you need it, I give it to you. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm not expecting it back. You know what? It's just that's always been the way I move. I'll do something if I just feel like I want to do it. I'm not expecting anything in return. It used to bother me a lot growing up at times where I would do these things and I would expect others to reciprocate that type of, or just match that type of energy. You know what I mean?
It's funny,
You
yeah.
know, and
When you
and
say that, go ahead, sorry, man.
yeah, let me
I
just
was gonna
finish the
hold on.
thought. And just oftentimes I would get so disappointed, and it was all these stories in my head, and there's those other outside factors as to why, that those feelings weren't reciprocated. I didn't even know of, and I just constantly in my head like why, like it
Yeah,
almost needed seeking that type of validation. Could be a trauma thing with my father
it
growing
was
up.
a
We were
youth
talking
problem.
about it, right? It was always a me problem, right?
Hmm.
And it took me a long time, a couple of years ago to really get past that, to really come to
People
terms
don't
with
owe
that.
me. I used to tell people, people don't owe
Yeah,
you anything.
yeah,
Telling myself that, reminding me that.
yeah.
It's like when I was gonna say, it was like coming off what you said. You know, like for example, I think I would like to think that I'm kind to people and I go the extra mile, especially younger to me, and then getting mad because I wouldn't do this to them, or if it was me, I do this. How come they wouldn't do it?
Right.
And like you said, but at the end of the day, that or you'd be like, oh, I'm no more Mr. Nice Guy, no more than Mr. Nice Chris. Fuck everybody, but that's not who you are, bro. You are a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna change and become something you're not because of the world is not giving you the results that you would like. And
Right.
that's where it comes with that self-awareness.
Mhm.
We're just a pimple on the fanny, right, Matt?
Just a pimple on the fanny, baby. It's a beautiful thing.
That's all in
Yes,
the whole world, in the grand scheme of it. We gotta chill.
indeed. Yeah, and you gotta detach a little bit. You gotta
Yes,
just,
yes.
get away and just simplify things.
Some of our
You
egos are
know.
so massive at times. Oh my God, bro.
Yeah. Oh, no
You start
doubt.
checking yourself. Jesus, you're like, and then you check yourself, or you see something that you do when your friend does it. Like, damn, that be me sometimes.
Mm,
That was nasty.
mm.
You know?
But it's good
So I just
that
got
it's good that
self-awareness.
you're able to get right. You have that self
That's
awareness to get to
it's
that
everything.
point. Self awareness is freaking key. It's necessary, man.
Everything.
You don't have self awareness. You got to realize you're being a dick. You know
You're
what I
gonna
mean?
lose people.
Yeah.
Right.
You're gonna fuck up good
Yeah.
things.
Like,
You're gonna
that's
destroy
it.
relationships. Yes.
You know.
You're gonna hurt. You're gonna lose your good people, man. You're gonna be by yourself.
We are human. We are not perfect. This is
No.
just, we're going to make these mistakes. We're going to fall victim to those types of emotions, but it's a matter of how you catch yourself in that moment, redirect, hold yourself accountable, be self aware, and understand that, yeah, I might be being a douchebag for a little
Yeah.
bit. Let me
Mhm.
let me find a problem here. Let me redirect and change it up. It's a
Like
beautiful
Omar said
thing,
on The
man.
Wire, man. A man gotta have a code, bro.
Mm,
A man gotta have a code. You gotta live. You can stand on something, man, and everything will work out.
no doubt.
People respect you, and you stand by being good people. You'll be all right, man. I just really believe that. The world will
Indeed.
take care of you because it's not as wicked as we think. There's a lot of good people out there. They're just in the cut, kind of, stay out of the madness. So you don't even think they're there. There's a lot of great people. They're like, oh, there's no good men out there. There's no good women. Bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I met a good guy tonight.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah. No, the outlook it counts for a lot, man. Your outlook on life, your outlook on a lot of things, and like Matt was saying, not to expect people to reciprocate in the same way you would. Don't let that change who you are. A lot of people aren't going to respond in the manner that you're expecting or hoping. It doesn't really mean much, man. What you do every day means is what counts.
Absolutely.
Be a good person. Treat others, with respect, and you can't always expect things back the way you would give them, but don't let that change you. You know.
It's a hell
and
of
we
a
gotta
way to
respect
put it there, bro.
ourselves too, We gotta take care of ourselves. We can't take care of shit or anyone until we respect ourselves and take care of ourselves.
Right.
And we can still
self-love,
take care of other people while not as good as well as to the best of our
Yeah.
abilities. Well, we're not right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Chris, man, hell yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful way to put it, guys. We are nearing the end of the show, so as we always do here on Mental Mondays with Epis, we like to recap the mental health video of the week. So I'll do that for you folks now. Keep showing up. Detach for a while. Simplify life. Surround yourself with joy and laughter. Put yourself out there. Try something new. might have a little fun. Keep showing up. Since it's a short one, I'll play it back again. One more time. Detach for a while. Simplify life. Surround yourself with joy and laughter. Put yourself out there. Try something new. You just might have a little fun. Keep showing up. Alright. Not loving my side profile in that video, but you know what? We'll get past that. That's the stories in my head. I'm saying, oh man, that look a little shitty there, but it's alright, man. Yeah, no, listen, and this is what we're talking about. You know, it's the stories in your head, right? You just like, you know, it's like, oh wait, hold on, I had you guys muted. You're good now. Yeah, you know, I just, you know, I'm like that, but that's what we do, right? You know, I'm my own worst critic. I'll look at it and be like, look at that. You know, it just you know, gotta clean it up, gotta shave the beard a little bit, you know, at the
tough,
hair,
man.
you know. It's like, why? Why do you do that? And ultimately, nobody really cares anyway, I'm sure. Like, they're probably, you know, some people, I don't know. But, you know, others, you know, I'm sure they're listening for the message, and that's really it. Nobody's really caring about, you know, you know, Matty's got no chin. I don't know. If you do and you find some humor to it, then, you know what, good for you. It's a beautiful thing.
I'm looking at you now. I'm
Yeah.
really looking at you.
now he's diving. Now he's diving into it. Now he's checking. He's making sure. It's like, wait a minute. Let me check back real quick. How's he look?
The goatee, the facial hair, I can't really call it. You know, it's all right.
Oh man, it's not the greatest side profile. I know. Okay, I know, but. Again, who cares? It doesn't, you know, matter. You know, I did it for a reason. I knew what I looked like when I did it, so you know. But for me, that's also another thing. Like, because that, you know, that's the realism behind it. That's how I look around the house. I didn't like put that shit on for the video. I put this on for the video. I put this on for the video. This is new. I'm like showing a little chest here. You know, I got this. Yeah. I put this on the video, but that's, you know, that's Matty on a Sunday, you know, 3:30, you know, like, you know, good to, you know, or that's going to be me taking out the garbage tonight. You're like,
Matty
that's
Flames.
what the Matty If you
It's all Chris. That's done deal, Chris.
Oh man, Taz, night, man. Have a good night, bro. We appreciate you as always.
There, guys.
I'm glad you
on this episode.
Taz, I'm glad you were around for that story. For those of you that are in the chat right now, if you want to dial back at some point, you could watch the post-edited version on YouTube. I'll have that up shortly after this show tonight. You got to check back and
it's a great show.
Check back at this episode and catch that story about me.
That fire story, man. Matty tells a fire story. Matty was an arsonist, guys.
I was.
12-year-old arsonist. No, he really was. Like, I couldn't believe it. You guys got to go back and check it out. I know Matty almost a decade now. I never knew this. Like, he was lighting fires, guys.
It is one part of my past life that, for one, I did not expect to talk about on tonight's show. So that was like a curveball. And
it's documented. No, this is he wasn't doing it and not get caught. This is documented.
Yeah, and it was an impromptu documentation of it too, which is great. It's a beautiful thing. But yes, it's a part of my life that it was certainly relevant, and you know, it ties into all this. It ties into the mental health aspect of things. You know, OMG BB, thank you for showing up. OMG was saying that's a great show. Keep it up.
Thanks, OMG.
Thank you, OMG. We appreciate that.
BB.
Thank you. All I can say to that is keep showing up. Thank you for the follow. It's a beautiful thing. If you want to catch us on YouTube, we do sports show as well, weekly. So I appreciate you. All right, folks. With that being said, I think I'm going to hit this outro. Any last statements from Dub, Chris? You want to each make a statement for the people before we get out of here?
You want me to go first, Chris? Yeah, that right. Keep showing up. Real quick, I'm gonna say what I said on IG the other day, Matt. The explanations. Everybody doesn't deserve an explanation, people. Everybody doesn't deserve an explanation. Period. You know, guys know who does and who doesn't. Find yourself
Yeah.
explaining everything to everyone. People who don't
Yeah,
ask you
man.
for an
Yeah, man.
explanation.
Takes too
And
much energy.
people who want explanations who don't deserve one. People who have nothing to do with the bearing of your life. People who are going to comment about your explanation afterwards to make you feel away. F that. Don't explain shit. You tell your employer why you ain't coming to work. You tell your wife what time you're coming in. You tell your kid why you're mad at him. Other than that, you know, I tell Matty why I can't beat the show. We have an agreement. We have a commitment. I tell Chris, when you know when to explain shit. Otherwise, you just explaining shit randomly. Fuck that. No more explaining shit. Just do what you do. You know why you did it. You're gonna explain something, Chris, to someone you're trying to get away from them. I don't want to hang out with this guy anymore. You're gonna call, when he calls you. Now you're gonna give him an explanation. Was he gonna curse you out on the way out, or he's gonna tell you to hang with him still? Like, no, I'm gone. These chicks leave us, yo. They don't explain it. They already have their shit packed. And you know what you did, nigga. Like, so I ain't gonna explain to you. So we gotta stop explaining shit. I wanna do a quick
It's
one,
important. It's important. Yeah, me and Dorothy were talking about that yesterday, man. Like, I had this certain person say something online, and I was like, man, I don't have to explain nothing, to
Out of
you.
here.
Like,
Out of here.
like that is
I've
like,
done it
and
so
who,
much. I've done so much explaining in my
yeah,
life, bro.
and who are you to like,
Fuck that, yo.
kind of, want that
Judge or
explanation
whatever.
or
Yeah.
right, whatever it is, or seek that
You need one
information.
for
Yeah.
me. Who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah, for real. Especially when it comes from a person that really has no
Little bear.
prominent place in my life at the moment. You know what I mean? That's kind of just like an outsider looking in. It's like, no.
And then you
Excuse
see
me.
people who start,
Yeah.
you know, I catch people
Yeah,
who start
yeah.
explaining, like I this chick give me a ride to work, whatever, and she couldn't. She was giving me a ride. You know, my car's there, and I called her. I said, "You going to work today?" She's like, "No, no." She said, "I can't. I'm not going back tonight
Yeah.
to the neighborhood." So you know, you gotta get her a ride. That's all right, cool. The next day, she's explaining to me why. I said, "Baby, you don't gotta do that. You told me in time. I'm good. I get a ride somewhere else. You don't gotta tell me and it prove to me." I'm like, "Damn, what is she going through? But she gotta tell everybody." I'm like, "Shit, fuck you, touch
We
my
all
shit."
got legitimate
You know what I
reasons,
mean?
man. I don't have to go into the explanation.
Right. She started telling me I'm
Busy as it is.
nobody, bro. Right. She's telling me why she couldn't give me a ride that she was hooking me up with. Like, you don't gotta explain that, mommy. You good, baby? Thank you. You give me rides before. No, but people do that, and I felt bad for her. I was like, damn, she going through bad shit, or she be around people who demand explanations from her. Well, whatever, I don't know. It's just we don't got to explain shit.
All right, folks. With that being said, it has been a long day, a long Mental Health Monday. I hope you guys had a good day. And again, thank you for showing up, especially to those that showed up for the double dip with me and W today. We did a sports show early in the day, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. That was a great hit as well. A lot of you were in there on YouTube and Twitch. Again, if you want to check that out, go on the socials. It's there. The full episode is on YouTube as we speak. Yeah, and, just again, the energy has been palpable around the shows lately in the last month. We have grown so much on YouTube, and let's just keep it going. We're gonna do weekly shows as always with Mental Mondays. We're gonna have different guests. I had somebody reach out to me today about potentially coming on. So that is somebody who works at a drug addiction clinic. I mean, it's just there's so much that left to be done on this show, and we're just beginning. All right, episode 6 is your boy Matty B, my co-host W Dubois, our guest star for the night, my man Chrissy Mumbles as I call him. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody,
Chris.
for showing up. Thank you, Chris, for sharing your story. I love you. I'll be with you every step of the way. If you need me, you can always count on me. And thank you, Dub, as always, my man, for showing up. It's another good show.
Yeah, thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate y'all, man. I'm gonna sleep well tonight. Good energy.
Absolutely, right?
All right, everybody. With that being said, I'm going to hit this outro. Until next time, keep showing up.
Wake up! You can't remember where it was. Has this dream stopped?
Did he leave?
And hope you find some kind of peace of mind. Find
Was true. In my love.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. I hope you're having a wonderful night. Keep showing up.
hope you find
Until next time.
some kind of peace of mind.
Epis!